there's a list here showing all of the mineral properties for the different minerals that you might look at. Um, one of them is this one right here. It says metallic minerals, and the other one is for light colored metallic mineral, non-metallic minerals, and the other one's for dark colored non-metallic minerals. Almost all the minerals are going to be on those 3 pages, but the rest of them can, if they're not on those pages, and they're on these other pages where it says mineral database. Bottom line is, to identify minerals, you can also buy a book on Amazon or eBay, a rock and mineral ID book. Buy a used one, save money if you want, and it shouldn't cost you more than $7. That might help you too. In your mineral identification kit, you have a variety of tools that you can use. You have a bottle of hydrochloric acid. Be careful, don't get that on your skin because it'll burn. If you get that on your skin, then wash it off real quick. You'll have a black streak plate. So when you rub a mineral against a light colored mineral, it's going to, or when you rub a mineral against this plate, it'll produce a color. And if it's a light color, it'll show up on this dark streak plate. This is called a streak plate. It's a dark colored streak plate. And that gives you the color of the mineral in its powdered form. Or if you rub the mineral against this white colored plate, it'll show up if the streak is dark in color. We need to find the streak of the mineral. You can rub it against both plates and see which one shows up better. That's called the streak of the mineral. Streak. You have a hand lens, or a magnifying glass that I sent you, and you can look at the minerals real close with that. You have a piece of glass, and you could rub the mineral against the glass and see if it scratches the glass. That's going to help you a lot. Now, before I actually do 2 mineral identifications with you, I wanted to show you something here about, let's see here if I can get this. Okay, I want to show you something here about mineral hardness. There's a variety of things you can use to identify minerals. Color, streak. Another thing you can use is mineral hardness. And there's a chart in your book. And if you don't have a book yet, just go online and type in mineral hardness scale or Mohs hardness scale, and that shows you what hardness is all about. The hardness of the mineral can go from 1 to 10, with 1 being the softest mineral and 10 being the hardest mineral. And so all minerals are classified on hardness based on 1 to 10. And you need to figure out the hardness of the mineral. It's not hard to do because we've got all of these common tools here that we can use to figure out hardness. If you could scratch the mineral with your fingernail, that means it has a hardness of less than 2.5. I'm sure you have a penny around somewhere, and if you could scratch it with the penny, there's a hardness of less than 3.5. If you got a knife, like a pocket knife, or just a knife out of your cutlery, like a steak knife or something like that, see if you can cut it with a knife. If you can cut it with a knife, it has a hardness of less than 5.5. If you have a steel nail, if you could scratch it with that, it has a hardness of 6.5, and a masonry bit has a hardness of 8.5. So let's say I wanted to figure out how hard a mineral was, such as this one right here. Well, I can't scratch this mineral with my fingernail. It won't scratch. I don't see a scratch. That means it's got to be harder than 2.5. And I don't have a penny with me, but let's say I could scratch it with my penny. That means it's softer than 3.5. That means it's between 2.5 and 3.5. So it has a hardness about 3. So hardness is one thing we want to figure out. This mineral here is a different mineral. It's clear looking too, but it's different looking, isn't it? This one will scratch glass. That means it has to be harder than 5.5. So try and figure out how hard the minerals are. And I'll give you more hints about that later. Hardness. The other thing you want to do is learn about cleavage. And I better be careful here. Mineral cleavage. Type in mineral cleavage. Let's see. So, what is cleavage? Cleavage is the way a mineral breaks. And if a mineral breaks in a preferred way, that means in flat planes, like this. See these minerals here? They have that. This has good cleavage in one direction, like that. This has cleavage in two directions. It breaks like that and like that. So it breaks in like this. This one breaks in three directions, like that, and like a cube in three, 1, 2, 3 directions. So it's going to break in cubes. This is what cleavage looks like. So try and figure out, does the mineral have cleavage or not? And if you can, try and figure out what kind of cleavage it has. I know that's kind of hard, but watch some videos about mineral cleavage, and that might help you on YouTube. Cleavage and hardness are the most useful properties in identifying minerals. Now, streak is also useful sometimes. The color can be very it's hard to use colors a lot of the times because some minerals come in many different colors. Let me show you what a mineral with no cleavage looks like. A mineral with no cleavage does not break off into flat planes. If you hit it with a hammer, it's not going to break off into flat planes. Like this mineral here, it doesn't break into flat planes. You don't know how that mineral is going to break if you hit it with a hammer. On the other hand, a mineral with cleavage breaks off in flat planes. That's called cleavage. Okay. Now, today I'm going to send you more information about, today and tomorrow I'm going to send you more information, and the lab won't be due until Thursday. But this is what your answer sheet is going to look like. Here, well, can you see it here? Yeah. We're going to have to figure out what color is the mineral. Does it have cleavage or not? If it does have cleavage, try and figure out, does it have 1, 2, or 3, or 4 directions of cleavage? Hardness, streak, what color is it when you rub it against porcelain plate? Luster means what does the mineral look like when light reflects off of it? For example, this mineral here doesn't look like a metal. Metals have a certain look to them. And let me see if I can find one that has a metallic luster here. For example, this mineral here, right here, it's called gold. It's $1,500 an ounce. It looks like a metal. Metals are shiny. You know what a metal looks like. If it looks like a metal, it has a metallic luster. If it doesn't look like a metal, it has a non-metallic luster. Special properties of a mineral are anything that's going to help you remember that mineral. For example, if you put acid on it, will it react or not? If it reacts, that's a special property. So you could write reacts to acid. Another thing you use is a magnet. If the magnet sticks to the mineral, then and it's magnetic, that's a special property. Another property you can use is high specific gravity. That means that mineral feels heavy for its size. That you say it has a high specific gravity. Also, is a mineral can be translucent, meaning that light will pass through it. Both of these minerals are translucent. But if the mineral doesn't let light pass through it, we say it's opaque. Those you could put in the special properties section. Okay, so let me identify two minerals real quick with you here and show you how it works. Here's the first mineral we're going to look at right here. Let's fill in this chart here. What color is this, would you say? I'd say it's clear, so we'd write clear in for color. Does it have cleavage? Can you see flat places where it's going to break? Can't you see how that those flat places there? It does have cleavage. It has cleavage. And then once it happens to have 1, 2, 3 directions of cleavage. So if you can figure that out, right, 3 directions of cleavage. How hard is this? Well, I tell you, you can't scratch it with your fingernail. You cannot scratch it with your fingernail. So it's harder than 2.5, and a penny won't scratch it. So it has a hardness of 3. Streak. Well, here's your black plate, and I rubbed it, and what color is that? It's white. So write white for the streak. Does this look like a metal or a non-metal to you? I've never seen a metal that looks like that, so it's got a non-metallic luster. Special properties. I'll tell you, this has a special property, this mineral. I put some acid on it. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to get on my keyboard, but it reacted. It fizzed. It bubbled. Therefore, we say that it has it reacts to acid. Reacts to acid. Right? So now we have our information, and we want to figure out which mineral is it. And we look at our chart here. Is it, first of all, is it light color? Is it metallic or non-metallic? It's non-metallic. So that means it has to be on this page where it says light metallic minerals or dark colored non-metallic minerals. Is it light or dark? You tell me. It's light in color. So it's got to be somewhere on this chart where it says light colored non-metallic minerals in your lab manual. Or if you don't have a lab manual, print out those charts that I emailed you. And then you look through this list here and see which of these minerals matches up with that, with all that information that you have. And then you write your answer. And your answer is, this mineral happens to be calcite. So that's the way you identify minerals. This one here is clear. I write that. This is another mineral that's clear. And this one here, it looks like it might have cleavage, doesn't it? But it actually doesn't have cleavage. This mineral grew this way. It's too perfect. It didn't break this way. That's a crystal. So the way it breaks, you could tell by looking at the little cracks in it. And those cracks are not plain. They're not flat planes. They're curved. So it has no cleavage. And then we do the hardness tests, and we find it has a hardness of 7. It will scratch glass. And it gives us a white streak. And it's non-metallic. And special property, well, it's a 6-sided crystal. So we could say hexagonal crystal. And then the answer for that is quartz. So you're going to try and identify 20 minerals using your lab manual, watching the videos, and if you have any problems, email me and I'll try and help you as well. You can FaceTime me on the phone, and I'll look at things with you if you want me to. So we'll have a lot of fun, and I'll talk to you later.